YouTube, Nocturnal Thoughts. What's happening, everybody? First of all, before I start this video, let me give thanks to God for giving me the blessing and the opportunity to share a message. Before I went to sleep this morning, I watched Boxing Wave and I watched Show Biz the Dope, and they both did a video on Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman deciding that they didn't want to have Vada testing in their fight that's coming up. So it made me think about the drug testing in boxing and whether or not I thought this was a good idea. Was it good for boxing? Was it good for this fight? Or was it bad? Was it a negative for this fight? And took me a little nap. Woke up. Hopefully I'm a little bit more fresh-minded to share my thoughts. Now, as we all know, both fighters have dealt with injuries. They're both approaching the other side of the hill, in my opinion. Keith has suffered from injuries, and Manny Pacquiao is getting up in age, and he's definitely had injuries. So, to me, they've probably had to subject themselves to doing, different things to help them rehab and recover. Especially Manny Pacquiao, as he ages, his body is not going to recover the same. He's going to train the same. He's going to train the same, if not train harder, but he's not going to recover the same. We're not like Wolverine. We don't just regenerate instantly. When we're younger, we regenerate a lot better. As we get older, it takes our body a little bit longer to heal and repair itself. Now, with the aid and the assistance of all this new research technology when it comes to PEDs, those things aid and assist people in recovery time. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to me. It's for my thoughts. Most likely, with both of those guys having injuries and getting older, because Keith Thurman isn't really a spring chicken. He's 30, you know what I'm saying? Which that's you're getting into a point where you're about to get into a peak zone, depending on who you are. 30 is just a general age. Some people can be 30 years old and be, past their prime. Just depends on your genetics. So it looks like to me both of these guys decided not to go with Vada testing. Does that automatically make them guilty? Does it automatically make them guilty of taking steroids? And when you say steroids, are we thinking of the the old school golden era steroid, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman or Phil Heath steroids, or are we thinking about Lance Armstrong? What are we talking about when we talk about steroids, or when we talk about PEDs or enhancements? Big Baby Miller, for example, he did a video with Mike Rashid, and he was explaining how he got popped for PEDs. He basically said so much wear and tear on his body, he was taking like stem cell, which will help you heal. I heard Joe Rogan talk a lot about stem cell. He would get in his shoulders because it's just tearing his shoulders up over the year. So they're saying that maybe the stem cell sometimes can flag you when it comes to Vada testing. They're so extreme with the Vada testing that it's going to red flag anything that's considered to be illegal enhancement. We all know about the glenbuterol with Canelo. We all know about John Jones getting hit with the picogram of residue of this little bitty, microscopic amount of some kind of leftover PED residue. Now, when you're talking about Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, if they both decided that they don't want to go through Vada, and meaning possibly that they could be, using some type of an enhancement, then at least now they would know that it's kind of creating an even playing field, where they don't have to guess if one of the other fighter is taking something versus, am I trying to come in as natural as possible? And to be honest with you, I just don't see it with, just this huge question mark always about who's natural, who's enhanced, what is considered to be natural, what is considered to be a PED, what's illegal, what's legal. It goes on and on and on, and it just don't stop. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that always kind of nag at me, because as far as I know the difference between natural and enhanced when it comes to just being athletic and lifting weights and different sports have different ways of using different drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like a Lance Armstrong situation, to me, it's totally different from a Glenbuterol situation. So when you talk about any kind of enhancement versus natural is pretty much no supplementation and eating 3 times a day and having a snack, and everything else is God given genetics. Whatever God blesses you with genetically and mentally and physically and spiritually, that's natural. You know what I'm saying? As far as the food that God gives us to eat, the food that God gives us that we are supposed to, by law, the foods that God laws allow us to eat, and the body that God gives us through our DNA and through our genetics is natural. Anything past that is enhanced. So anything you go to the supplement store and you buy is some form of an enhancement. And then from that point, you have illegal enhancements, which are enhancements that have been deemed to be banned from a sport because it gives you too much an advantage, or it causes some kind of harm to your body. Over the time of studies, it showed that it could be deteriorating to your body, or it puts you in the ability to really hurt someone. As far as in a full contact sport, you can have somebody that's taking some kind of steroid that makes him so much more faster, so much more bigger, and so much more stronger that he's going to have too much of an advantage to hurt someone else that's coming in naturally, supposedly, because a lot of it is genetics. Somebody can have better genetics than even a man-made steroid and still outperform and outbeat. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you always had the De La Hoya versus that one kid. What's his name? Vargas. Vargas came in. I believe his name was Vargas. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he came in and he looked better than he looked in any other fight he ever fought in on the outside. His neck was jacked, his shoulders was jacked, his arms were ripped and cut up and vascular, and he just came in like Diesel. And we was like, whoa, where this Vargas coming at? De La Hoya came in looking like regular De La Hoya. And the thing is, the steroids didn't help Vargas. His muscles pretty much seized up and tightened up to where he really couldn't even throw good punches, and then De La Hoya took him out. If you look at Mike Tyson, there was a point in Mike Tyson's career where you could see him taking steroids because he physically was past his prime. And you can just look at his body and tell when he took some kind of enhancement that just turned him into a monster. He was already genetically blessed. They say when he was 14, he was 190 pounds of just muscle. But you can see later in his career, after he went to jail and he came back, you can see where everything else just started to be shredded, ripped up, and he was more vascular and more cut. But he wasn't the same fighter. Steroids didn't help him be a better boxer. You know, God's gifts that he gives you are always going to last longer naturally than anything that's enhanced. Is usually temporary and usually comes at a cost. You know what I'm saying? But today's science and technology has improved performance enhancements to where people can take things, you know, that gives them a leg up, that gives them the advantage. But you know, it just all depends. It depends on the sport. I think really when it comes to like steroids, when it comes to testosterone and HGH, human growth hormone, it really is more for a look than it is for a performance over a long term. It gives you a short-term performance and it gives you a short-term look, but it doesn't give you a long-term performance and a long-term look. Like, you know, I was watching one of my favorite I can't say favorite, but one of my favorite YouTube channels, and he takes steroids. He admits, he lets you know what he takes. He keeps it minimum so he doesn't just look like, you know, a big oversized bodybuilder. But you can tell he's not natural. I can tell he's not natural. You know, just imagine me with about 40 more pounds of muscle. You know what I'm saying? If he didn't take steroids, he would look like pretty much close to me, a little bit taller. But him taking steroids allows him to have about 25, 30 pounds of size on me and still cut up and still vascular and still shredded. Just naturally, depending on your genetics, you have only so big you can get before you spill over your frame, before you start to lose definition and vascularity. So there's always a difference. He said something on this video that I didn't like, that I don't agree with, and this is one of the main messages I want to share in this video. If you bear with me, he said this, you know, because he was responding to some people that leave comments on his video, hating, saying, "Oh, you only look like that because of steroids." And you know, people that's on steroids don't want to hear that, but it's true. It is true that steroids do make a difference. You know what I'm saying? I get his argument where he said, look, you have to have mind and muscle connection. You have to know how to train, and that's the only thing that'll really get you the definition and the size and the muscle. But the steroids also make a huge difference. If steroids didn't make the difference, then you wouldn't take the steroids. Naturally, if you did everything with the muscle mental connection, if you trained the same, if you ate the same, and you didn't take the outside help, if you didn't take the enhancements, then you would not look that way. You would not feel that. You would look a different way. Period. So when it comes to boxing, you know, boxing gives you these. Boxing is different. It's not just lifting weights, pumping up blood into your muscle. You know, boxing it evolves more. It involves more physically for your body. It involves more mentally for your body to do. So it does give you the ability to train harder, train longer, recover faster, not suffer from as much injuries. So a guy like Manny Pacquiao, who's 40 years old, can still have the speed that he had when he was in his 20s and 30s. And if he hurts his shoulder, he would be able to recover a little bit faster, right? So I can see him taking something. I wouldn't say steroids, but there's something nowadays that exists that's going to aid him in healing. Same thing with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman suffered injuries. So I'm sure there's something that he could take nowadays that's just going to help him heal faster. Now, Vada testing might flag that and say he's taking a performance enhancer, because there's probably a long list. Somebody provide me with the list of illegal substances that you can't take and what it is, because it's always, to me, kind of a question mark. But I feel like if those guys decide that they want to kind of create their own even playing field and they don't want to have Vada testing, that's up to those fighters. If they both can agree to it, then I really don't see that much of a problem with that decision. Boxing Wave didn't like it, and I understand why he didn't like it. I think when you look into the future of boxing, when you start setting principles and setting bars, then you can kind of create an issue. As far as, say, for example, what if Errol Spence, who is they are kind of questioning, which I don't question if Errol Spence is using any enhancements. I can't say 100% sure what anybody's doing, but I'm just saying when you're young, you're in your prime, you've been training your whole life, Errol Spence is not far out of what I think is natural. Just not. Because I know myself. And I know what Errol Spence is doing on a whole different level. So when I look at him, I see a God gift, a God ability. When I look at Shawn Porter, I see a God gift and a God ability. But it's not going to, once you get to a certain point in your life, God gives and God takes away. And I don't think that Shawn Porter, could come in naturally at his optimal level that he came in with, say, 5-6 years ago. So would it be fair for Shawn Porter to go and get some kind of a special therapy, a special supplement or a special creatine that'll help him perform like he performed in his 20s, and come fight an Errol Spence who's just going completely off of God-given ability while he's still in his 20s? Does that even out the fight, or does it make it an unfair fight? Does it level the playing field, or does it give Shawn Porter an advantage? You guys let me know what you feel about it. Just like Big Baby Miller or Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, look at that physique. Everybody was going crazy about Andy Ruiz's physique. You know what I'm saying? Versus Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is a long time accused of being on something, right? Did it help him in that fight? Was Anthony Joshua on something in that fight? We don't know. I don't know. Don't care at this point in time. I just know when it comes to taking any kind of help and enhancements, you still can't, you can never replace what God gives you. And you can never do better than what God gives you. That's my entire point. And that's my message today. That's my nocturnal thought. You can never do better than what God has blessed you with. Appreciate y'all time. Leave me some comments. Let's chop up this video. I look forward to replying to you guys. I'm out. Peace.